I always believed betrayal had a sound, glass shattering, a door slamming, a voice raised in anger. But the worst betrayals don't make any noise at all. They happen in silence, like the morning I woke up and discovered that my fiancée, Emily, had left me. No note, no explanation, nothing. Just an empty closet, and a bank account that was suddenly half of what it used to be. I remember standing there in the doorway of our bedroom, staring at the open drawers, the missing clothes, the empty hanger where her favorite red coat used to be. The coat I bought her the night she said, "You're the only man I'll ever trust." What a joke. Trust, love, promises. All of it evaporated in a single morning. My phone buzzed. It wasn't from her. It was from my bank. A transfer of $41,200 has been authorized. My stomach twisted. She didn't just leave. She cleaned me out. I rushed to the living room, hands shaking as I dialed her number. Straight to voicemail. "Emily, what are you doing?" "Just call me back, please." My voice cracked, not from weakness, but from disbelief. She and I had been together for 3 years. 3 years of building a future. 3 years of helping her through every financial struggle. 3 years of believing she was the one. I waited, and waited, and waited. No reply. Then came the text message. From an unknown number. Just 7 words. "She's gone. Don't look for her, move on." My blood went cold. I called, no answer. Tried again, nothing. And then the profile picture appeared. A man, older, richer, smirking. I didn't know his name then, but I'd come to know it very well. He was the reason she vanished. The reason she drained my savings. The reason my life flipped upside down. But that day, I broke. Not in anger, not in hatred, in silence. The kind of silence where the world becomes blurry, and you feel like you're standing in the ruins of a life you thought was yours. I sat on the edge of the bed she abandoned and whispered, "Why wasn't I enough?" I don't know how long I stayed there. Minutes. Hours. It didn't matter. All I knew was that the woman I planned to marry had stolen my money, my future, and a piece of my heart I didn't think I'd ever get back. Then something changed. A single thought hit me so hard it felt like electricity. I refused to stay broken. She didn't leave because I was weak. She left because she thought I would never rise again. And that was the biggest mistake she ever made. Because the moment she walked out was the moment I decided to rebuild myself. Not to win her back. Not to prove anything to her. But to make sure that the next time she saw me, she would regret everything. The first step. I quit the dead-end job where I was underpaid. I took every skill I had and started freelancing. I worked day and night until I had enough savings to begin investing. And slowly, quietly, without noise or revenge in my heart, I climbed. Every dollar I made brought me closer to the man I was becoming. Every small win reminded me of who I can be. Every night of hard work added another brick to the foundation of my new life. What I didn't know yet. One day, far in the future, a court hearing would bring us face to face again. She would sit on one side of the room, panicked, shaking, desperate. I would walk in from the opposite door, calm, powerful, untouchable, and I would take my seat beside the judge himself. Because long before that day came, I had become the investor who financed his biggest project. But that moment is still far away. Right now, all I had was heartbreak, anger, and the burning desire to rise. This was only the beginning. Chapter 2. The Stranger Who Became My First Step Toward Power. Approx. 2,000-word narrative style, tightened for YouTube pacing. The week after Emily vanished was the darkest period of my life. Every morning I woke up expecting her keys on the counter, her slippers near the bed, her voice calling my name. But there was nothing. Just reminders of what I had lost. My savings gone. My plans gone. My fiancée gone with a richer man. I worked double shifts just to fill the empty hours. But even exhaustion couldn't drown the memory of her last smile. The one that wasn't meant for me. Then one night everything changed. It was a rainy evening. The kind of rain that makes the world blur. Like it doesn't want you to see the truth yet. I was sitting in a small cafe staring at my laptop, trying to find some freelance work so I wouldn't fall behind on rent. That's when someone tapped my shoulder, a man I had never seen before. Tall, sharp eyes, black coat, mid-50s maybe. He had the presence of someone people didn't say no to. "Are you Lucas Hale?" he asked. My chest tightened. "Yeah. Do we know each other?" "No, but someone told me to find you." My heart froze. "Emily? Her new boyfriend? The police?" but he slid into the seat across from me like he owned the place. "You applied for a freelance project," he said calmly. "The financial analytics one?" I blinked. "Oh, an online job application." I had sent out dozens. "Yes, that's me," I said carefully. He reached into his coat, pulled out a folder, and placed it gently on the table. "You're hired." Just like that. No interview. No test. Nothing. I stared at him, confused. That was fast. "You were recommended," he said. "By who?" He smiled slightly. "That's not important. What matters is that I need someone smart. Someone hungry. Someone who has nothing left to lose." Those words hit so hard I forgot how to breathe. I opened the folder. Inside was a contract and a starting payment that made my eyes widen. It wasn't a normal job. It was big. Bigger than anything I'd ever done. "You're offering me this?" I whispered. "You need a chance," he replied. "And I need results. We can help each other." "Why me?" His eyes softened. "Because you were betrayed, and betrayed men either break forever or rise higher than the ones who hurt them." My heart kicked inside my chest. He was right. I was hurt, but I wasn't broken. I signed. The work began. Days turned into nights. Nights turned into weekends. I learned more in 1 month under him than I had learned in my entire life. He wasn't just a client. He became a mentor. His name was Adrian Crowell, founder of a growing investment firm, one that was preparing to take on a major project involving real estate, politics, and high-level investors. He didn't treat me like an employee. He treated me like someone he was training for something bigger. "You think you lost everything," he told me once. "But betrayal can be a gift. You just haven't unwrapped it yet." I didn't understand those words then, but one day I would. A door begins to open. My income increased. My skills sharpened. My confidence returned. Every time I succeeded, Adrian pushed me further. "Don't look back," he said. "People who steal from you expect you to stay down. The moment you rise, you become their worst nightmare." Sometimes I'd lie awake at night wondering where Emily was. Was she living with that rich man? Was she spending my money? Did she feel guilt? Regret? Or nothing at all? Part of me wanted to hate her. Part of me missed her. But the part that mattered most was learning to outgrow her, the message that sparked my rise. 2 months later, while working late, my phone buzzed. A notification from a private investor network Adrian had connected me to. A project, massive, high value, with millions circulating, had opened to a select few. And there it was, lead judge Michael Artisan. The name froze me. Judge Artisan, a man known for strict rulings, and the man who would one day preside over a settlement case involving Emily. I had no idea this would matter. Not yet. I just sensed a strange tightening in my chest, like the universe was moving pieces behind my back, and I wasn't supposed to understand it yet. But that night, when I submitted my analytics proposal for the project, it was Adrian's voice I heard in my head. "Betrayal is a gift. Let it shape you." And I finally understood. This wasn't the end of my life. This was the beginning of something far bigger, something powerful, something unstoppable. And one day, Emily would walk into a courtroom believing she still had power over me, only to discover I had become the man who invested in her judge's future. But for now, I just kept working. My rise had just begun. Chapter 3. The first time she saw me rise. 3 months after Emily disappeared, my life no longer looked anything like the ruins she left behind. I wasn't rich. Not yet. But for the first time in years, I wasn't drowning anymore. Thanks to Adrian, I had steady work, growing skills, and a role inside a world I once thought only rich people touched. Every day felt like a step upward. But fate has a strange sense of timing, because the first person to witness my rise was the one who tried to destroy me. It happened on a Tuesday. I was heading into one of the city's new financial towers to meet Adrian for a planning session. The lobby was busy, professionals in suits, investors, assistants, interns rushing everywhere. I had just stepped out of the elevator when I froze. Emily. She was standing at the reception desk. Her hair was different. Expensive waves, salon finished. Her dress was new, probably designer. She looked polished, confident. Exactly the opposite of the girl who once begged me to believe in her dreams. She didn't see me yet. I could have walked away, but I didn't. I walked right past her, and she finally turned. Her eyes widened. Her lips parted. "Lucas?" Hearing my name from her mouth again felt wrong. like a ghost calling out from a past I was trying to bury. I didn't stop fully, just enough to acknowledge her. Emily. Her gaze flicked over me, my new suit, my briefcase. My confidence that wasn't there before. You work here? She asked. No, I said calmly. I'm meeting someone. She swallowed. Who? I didn't answer. She didn't deserve that. Her expression shifted, curiosity turning into something else. Fear? No, not yet. Guilt? The receptionist returned from the back office. Ma'am, to meet Mr. Harrington, you'll need to wait. He's in a meeting. Mr. Harrington? That name hit me like a punch. He was the man she had left me for. So this was it. She wasn't here for work. She was here for him. She wasn't moving upward. She was still playing assistant to the man she abandoned everything for. And while I wasn't anywhere near the top yet, I wasn't below her anymore. Not even close. I gave her a small nod and walked to the high-security elevator. Her voice cracked behind me. Lucas, wait. Can we talk? I didn't. The elevator doors opened, and I stepped inside without looking back. I felt her eyes on me until the doors closed. For the first time since she left, I felt nothing for her. The mentor's warning. Upstairs, Adrian was waiting beside a panoramic window overlooking the city. Without turning, he said, You saw her. I blinked. How did you? You carry people in your shoulders. Lucas, when someone from your past appears, your entire posture changes. I exhaled slowly. She looked surprised, I said. Maybe guilty. Of course she is. Betrayers always expect the betrayed to stay broken. I didn't respond. Adrian stepped closer. Let me tell you something most people never learn. His voice lowered. When someone chooses money over love, you cannot outlove them. You can only outgrow them. I felt something inside me shift. Not anger, not sadness. Resolve, Adrian continued. And when you outgrow them, they return, not for you, but for the stability they lost. I didn't know then how true those words were, but they were a prophecy. The project that changed everything. That day, Adrian introduced me to the full scope of the Artisan Project, a massive redevelopment plan that Judge Artisan, yes, the same judge tied to my future settlement hearing, was overseeing. I wasn't important in the project. Not yet. I was just an analyst, preparing reports, running models, double-checking data. But you can learn everything from that position. Every file, every meeting, every email. I watched the way investors negotiated. I understood how political influence worked. I learned which judges invested where. I saw how decisions were bought, not with cash, but with favors, leverage, strategic friendships. And I realized something powerful. The world Emily thought she was entering, the rich world she betrayed me for, was nothing compared to the world I was quietly stepping into. A world where the real power wasn't the man she ran away with. It was the man she didn't even know I would become. Her message. That night when I got home, there was a text on my phone. From Emily. Can we talk? Please, just once. I stared at the screen. Old Lucas would have answered instantly. But the man I was becoming, the man Adrian was shaping, didn't feed ghosts. I put the phone down, ignored the message, and slept better than I had in months. The shift that couldn't be reversed. The next morning, I woke up feeling different. Lighter, stronger. I wasn't chasing her. I wasn't hurting from her. For the first time, she wasn't part of my plans. My life was moving forward at a pace she never expected. She thought stealing my savings would bury me. But it became the reason I climbed higher. And as I boarded a car to meet Adrian at the courthouse for a meeting with investors, I had no idea that Judge Artisan would notice me that day, or that the connection forming in those halls would become the exact reason Emily would tremble the next time she saw me in court. Not as the man she betrayed, but as her judge's investor. The power shift had already begun, and she had no idea. Chapter 4. The judge who changed my destiny. For most of my life, courthouses were places I avoided. They meant trouble, conflict, or endings. But ever since joining Adrian's world, they meant something entirely different. Opportunity. Access. Power. On the morning that changed everything, I stepped out of the car in front of the district courthouse, expecting a normal meeting, no drama, no surprises. I was wrong. Very wrong. The unexpected audience. Adrian and I were scheduled to present a financial projection to the committee overseeing the Artisan Project. The courthouse halls were silent, except for the echo of heels and clicking pens. Our meeting room was on the third floor. As we approached, a sharp voice came from behind. Adrian, you're early. Both of us turned. Judge Evelyn Artisan stood at the end of the hallway. Her presence was overwhelming. Tall, elegant, commanding. The kind of person who could silence a room with a glance. She didn't walk, she glided with authority. I swallowed hard. I'd seen her picture in articles, but in person she was terrifyingly impressive. Adrian smiled. Just trying to stay ahead of your schedule, Judge. Her eyes shifted to me. And who is this? Her stare wasn't rude. It was precise, measuring everything about me. Adrian placed a hand on my shoulder. This is Lucas Carter. He's working with me on the financial models. Judge Artisan stepped closer, and I had to resist the urge to stand straighter. Lucas, she repeated. You're young to be involved in a project of this scale. I'm learning fast, ma'am, I replied. Her lips twitched. Not a smile, more like approval. We need more young men who take responsibility seriously, she said. My courtroom sees the opposite far too often. I nodded, unsure what to say. Then she looked at my wrist. My old scratched watch. Tell me, Lucas, she said suddenly, why finance? The question hit me unexpectedly. I could have lied, could have said something polished, but I didn't. Because I lost everything once, I said quietly. And I never want to be powerless again. Judge Artisan's expression changed instantly. For a moment, she wasn't the strict judge. She was a human being reading another human's battle scars. Adrian shot me a surprised glance, but the judge spoke before he could. Good, she said. Then you'll go far. The courtroom lesson. Inside the meeting, Adrian handled most of the conversation. I presented a few points, explained some projections, and answered 2 questions from the committee. It wasn't my best performance, but it wasn't bad either. After it ended, Adrian left to make a call, and I remained behind to pack our folders. Judge Artisan stayed behind too. You're nervous, she said without turning. I froze. Yes, I admitted. A little. She chuckled lightly. Everyone is. The first time they stand in my courtroom or speak in front of my committees. I stopped packing. You knew? Of course I knew, she said. Confidence isn't the absence of fear, it's the ability to operate despite it. I nodded. Then she asked the strangest question. Lucas, have you ever watched a settlement hearing? My blood turned cold. Emily's settlement hearing was coming soon. I hadn't thought about attending it alone. I haven't, I said. But I will be part of one soon. She finally turned fully toward me. Is this a financial dispute? She asked. I hesitated. It's personal. She studied me for a long, heavy moment. And will this hearing be fair? She asked. I didn't know how to respond. Then, unexpectedly, she offered something nobody ever had. Attend some hearings before yours, she said. Understand the process. Learn how people behave under pressure. Knowledge wins more battles than emotion ever will. I stared at her. Why are you helping me? I whispered. Judge Artisan gave a calm, powerful answer. Because the world needs more people who rise after being broken. I see that in you. She began walking away but paused. Be ready? Lucas. People who betray you fear 2 things, your silence and your success. Then she disappeared around the corner, and I stood there absorbing her words. She didn't know it yet, but this moment was the beginning of a connection that would flip my entire life upside down. Because the next time Emily would walk into that courthouse, Judge Artisan would not just recognize me, she would respect me, and Emily would feel that shift in her bones, practicing power. Following the judge's advice, I spent the next week watching hearings, divorces, settlements, business disputes. I learned everything. Who avoids eye contact? Who lies with confidence? Who folds under pressure? Who uses silence as a weapon? And I saw something important. Judges don't punish mistakes. They punish manipulation. Every session taught me something new. But the most important lesson came on Friday. A man stood trembling as his ex-wife accused him of abandoning her financially. Judge Artisan tapped her pen. Mr. Turner, she asked, your bank records show that she withdrew the entire savings account. The courtroom gasped. The woman froze. And Judge Artisan delivered her ruling. Manipulation is not victory. You cannot steal stability and then claim to be the victim. Her voice echoed in my head long after the hearing ended. That night, as I walked home, the truth hit me. Emily didn't just betray me. She manipulated me, and Judge Artisan hated manipulators. Her courtroom, the future stage of Emily's downfall, wasn't a place for victims. It was a place for consequences, a call I didn't expect. The next evening, my phone rang. "Adrian." "Lucas," he said. "Judge Artisan asked for you." I blinked. "Me? Why?" "She wants you to assist in preparing a financial summary for one of her upcoming cases." My heart nearly exploded. "Is this normal?" "No," Adrian said. "Judges don't request analysts. They request experts." "Then why?" "Because she sees something in you," he interrupted. "And because you didn't lie when she asked who you are." I felt the ground shake beneath my feet. Emily had taken my savings, but life had given me something far more powerful. A mentor, a judge, a path upward I never imagined. And soon, the woman who tried to bury me would walk directly into a courtroom where I wasn't the one begging for fairness. I was the one the judge trusted. Emily just didn't know how badly she miscalculated. Not yet, but she would. Chapter 5. The truth she never wanted me to find. The courtroom hallways were colder than usual that morning. Not because of the air conditioning, but because every step Kyle took echoed with a truth he was finally ready to face. His fiancée didn't just vanish. She prepared for it. And now Chapter 5 begins where the mask finally cracks. Kyle sat in the dim corner of the public records office, files spread out in front of him. He had learned one thing in the last few months. If someone steals from you, they leave clues, and clues lead to motives. He flipped through another document, a property transfer record dated 2 months before she disappeared. His breath stilled. Lena's signature, on a lease agreement in a different city. Signed long before she ran away in panic, so she had planned it. The theft, the breakup, the disappearance, all of it. Not an emotional meltdown, a long-term calculation. Kyle leaned back in his chair, gripping the file. "So that's how far you went, Lena." His phone buzzed. A message from his lawyer. "Check file, number 2097. You'll want to see this." Kyle grabbed the folder and opened it. This time the shock hit him like a punch. Another man's name, repeated over and over. Financial transactions, shared accounts, a hidden partnership. And the worst part? Half of the money she stole from Kyle ended up in those accounts. The betrayal was deeper than he thought. She didn't just run away with his savings. She used his money to start a new life with someone else. For the first time in a long time, Kyle felt his chest tighten, not with heartbreak, but with a rare burning clarity. He stood up slowly. "Okay, Lena, if you planned everything, then I'll plan my comeback just as carefully." He picked up the files, hid them inside his briefcase, and walked toward the exit. The security guard nodded at him. "You find what you needed, sir?" Kyle smirked faintly. "Not yet, but I've found more than she wanted me to know." Because today was the turning point. Today he wasn't the broken fiancé, the man who got robbed, the victim. Today he became the one who would win in the courtroom. Not with anger, but with evidence. And when Lena walked into that settlement hearing, she would have no idea who the real Kyle had become. Chapter 6. The settlement she never expected. The morning of the settlement, hearing arrived with the kind of quiet that warns of a coming storm. Kyle stood outside the courthouse, watching the glass doors reflect a man he almost didn't recognize. Calm, measured, unshakable. It had taken months of pain, humiliation, and betrayal. But now he finally felt the shift. He no longer feared the truth. He carried it. Kyle stepped inside the courtroom, the faint smell of old wood and paper settling around him. Lawyers whispered to their clients. People shuffled for seats. But everything grew silent the moment Lena walked in. Her hair was tied in a perfect bun, lips painted red, heels clicking confidently against the marble floor. She hadn't changed, except for the man walking behind her. The same name Kyle had found on the financial records. Her business partner. Her new beginning. Kyle didn't look away. He didn't flinch. He had already accepted what she was. Lena smirked as she approached the plaintiff's table. "Kyle, I hope you're ready to make this easy. I know you don't want a long fight." Her voice was almost gentle, as if nothing ever happened. He didn't answer. He simply opened his briefcase and placed a thick folder neatly on the table. Her eyes flicked toward it. He saw her confidence falter. For just a second, the judge entered and everyone rose. Judge Holden sat down, adjusting his glasses. "Let's begin. Ms. Lena, you claimed emotional distress and financial discrepancies. Mr. Kyle, you're here to respond." Kyle stood calmly. "Yes, Your Honor, and I have new evidence the court should review." He handed the folder to the clerk, who placed it before the judge. The room remained still. Judge Holden began flipping pages. Then his eyebrows shot up. Shared bank accounts, property transfers, transactions made from Kyle's stolen savings, signed willingly, months before their breakup. The judge slowly turned toward Lena. Ms. Lena, would you like to explain why these financial documents show premeditated movement of funds to an undisclosed partner? Lena's face drained of color. Kyle watched her facade shatter. This isn't what it looks like. It looks, the judge said firmly, like you planned to take Mr. Kyle's money long before your relationship ended. The courtroom buzzed. Her partner shifted uneasily in his seat. For the first time, Lena looked at Kyle with fear tucked behind her lashes. Kyle, please. He didn't respond. He didn't need to. Because the man who entered this courtroom today was not the desperate fiancé she once manipulated. He was the man she underestimated. The man with evidence. The man with control. Judge Holden closed the file. This hearing is postponed. An investigation will be initiated immediately. Ms. Lena, you may be facing multiple charges. Her knees wobbled. Kyle simply walked out of the courtroom, not waiting for the whispers or the chaos. Outside, he finally breathed. This isn't revenge, he murmured. This is justice. And justice was only beginning. Chapter 7. The Man Behind Her Betrayal. The courthouse scandal spread fast. By the next morning, Kyle's phone was buzzing nonstop. Lawyers, reporters, former colleagues, even friends he hadn't spoken to in years. But Kyle ignored them all. Today wasn't about noise. Today was about the final piece of the puzzle. The man Lena chose over him. The man who helped her steal everything. The man who thought Kyle would stay quiet. He wouldn't. Not anymore. Kyle arrived at the business district where Lena's secret partner, Daniel Roth, ran his small investment firm. The building was tall, glass-covered, shiny on the outside. But Kyle could already see the cracks. Inside, the receptionist tried to stall him. Sir, you don't have an appointment. Kyle showed his identity badge from his new role. The moment she saw the emblem of the Judge Investor Group, she froze. One moment, sir. Too late. Kyle had already stepped past her, walking straight toward Daniel's office. The door swung open. Daniel looked up, his fake confidence evaporating instantly. Kyle, this isn't a good time. It's the perfect time, Kyle said calmly, closing the door behind him. Daniel swallowed hard. Look, whatever Lena did, it wasn't... Kyle tossed a file onto his desk. More evidence, more transfers, more lies. Daniel's face turned white. You two didn't just steal from me, Kyle said, voice steady. You used my money to build this. He gestured around the expensive office. Daniel's shoulders slumped. We didn't think you'd fight back. Kyle almost laughed. That was your first mistake. Daniel rubbed his face nervously. So what now? What do you want? Kyle stepped closer. His voice was low, controlled, deadly calm. Everything you built using my money will be seized during the investigation. Daniel stiffened. And your firm? Kyle continued. It's already being reviewed by Judge Holden's financial team. Daniel's breath hitched. You're working with Holden? Kyle leaned in slightly. I became his private investor last week. The room went silent. Daniel's heart visibly dropped. You planned this, he whispered. You planned this whole comeback. Kyle didn't deny it. He simply turned toward the door. As he grabbed the doorknob, Daniel choked out. Kyle, she lied to me too. She said you'd never fight. She said you were... Weak? Kyle finished for him. A man only looks weak when he's trusting the wrong person. He opened the door, and I don't make that mistake twice. Kyle stepped out of the office, leaving Daniel drowning in fear. Walking through the hallway, he finally felt something inside him settle. He wasn't chasing justice anymore. He was claiming it. And Lena, her world was about to collapse. Because the man she thought she broke had just become the man she could never outrun.
You won't believe what happens. Next, someone unexpected is about to walk into that courtroom. If you're ready for Chapter 8, tell me in the comments.